welcome back to Hip Hop Urban Pop. In the early 90s, hip hop was the new kid on the block of the music scene. After emerging in the late 70s and everyone swearing it would be a fad by the 80s, the 90s rolled around and hip hop entered its golden era that spanned through the 2000s. The music genre reached commercial heights and proved it was here to stay. The generic pop music, on the other hand, had been at the forefront of the music scene and was usually performed by the most popular artists out at the time. Hip-hop was an edgy, raw, and unapologetic music style that told the stories of Black upbringings and culture. So how and when did it make it to the forefront of the music scene and collaborated with pop? In 1995, when ODB appeared on the Fantasy remix with Mariah Carey, it started a chain reaction of pop artists making the crossover to collab with hip-hop artists. Now, up until her Daydream era, Mariah had been releasing both R&B and adult contemporary pop records that catered to different audiences. Mariah had been a huge hip-hop fan, but Tommy Mottola wouldn't dare let her experiment with the genre. Matter of fact, when Tommy Mottola signed Mariah, he wanted to push her as an ambiguous pop artist so she could appeal to a wider audience, which she did. But Mariah felt a connection to hip-hop and R&B music and wanted to make the transition. After making it known she wanted to collab with ODB, Tommy swore she lost her mind. He considered rap to be pure background noise. Hip-hop and R&B artists had been collaborating long before that. This was something that was not out of the ordinary on this side of the music world. Hip-hop and R&B collabs go all the way back almost 10 years prior to Fantasy and would have still existed without Fantasy. These collabs date back to the late 80s with I'll Be Sure's If You're Not My Lover in 1988, to Jody Watley's Friends featuring Rakim in 1989, and Mary J. Blige making her debut on the airways as a featured artist on Father MC's I'll Do For You in 1990. R&B and hip-hop collaborations have existed for quite some time, and it created a space for R&B singers to get in their hip-hop bag, singing over beats that gave their music some edge. But as for mainstream pop artists, this was unheard of. And in 1995, when Mariah collaborated with ODB on the Fantasy remix, it created a cultural reset for the pop world, introducing hip-hop to the general consumers of mainstream pop music. Once the Fantasy remix did its numbers, executives were convinced it was the next big business move. And this also emerged the worlds of R&B and pop as well. Let's get into the most noted hip-hop and pop collaborations. Heartbreaker, 1999. Mariah Carey featuring Jay-Z. Even though the Fantasy remix was the first hip-hop pop collaboration that dropped in 95, the next hip-hop pop collab would come years later in 1999 from Mariah once again with Heartbreaker featuring Jay-Z. Her sixth album itself was a blend of hip-hop and R&B with dashes of pop. This was the era where Mariah was completely liberated from Tommy Mottola and was able to completely control her musical directions. Mariah dropped numerous hip-hop remixes, which set the tone for the future of pop music. Feeling So Good, 2000, J-Lo featuring Big Pun and Fat Joe. In January of 2000, J-Lo drops her first hip-hop collab of her musical debut titled Feeling So Good featuring Big Pun and Fat Joe. The single later peaked at number 51 on the Hot 100 in April before dropping to number 96 and falling off the chart completely by the end of April. Crybaby, 2000, Mariah Carey featuring Snoop Dogg. Now, Crybaby really was more so considered R&B, and by this time, Mariah was already neck-deep in hip-hop collabs. This single was released November 2nd of 1999 and later entered and peaked at number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100 in June of 2000. Stan, 2000, Eminem featuring Dido. On November 20th of 2000, Eminem dropped his third single, Stan, featuring Dido from his third album, The Marshall Mathers LP. The single peaked at number 51 on the Billboard Hot 100 and went number 1 in 12 countries. Stan went 4 times platinum in the United States and sold over 7 million copies worldwide. Let Me Blow Your Mind, 2001, Eve featuring Gwen Stefani. Let Me Blow Your Mind by Eve featuring Gwen Stefani was released on April 2nd of 2001. The single dominated the airways, peaking at number 2 on the Hot 100 and won a Grammy for Best Rap Song Collaboration in 2002, as well as the Best Female Video at the VMAs in 2001. This Is Me, Remix, 2001, Dream featuring P. Diddy and Kane. Now, before Diddy's pop girl group Dream met the horrifying fate of any and every musical act signed to Bad Boy, they dropped a remix to their top 40 hit, This Is Me, that featured Diddy himself and Kane. This video was directed by Chris Robinson, whose work can be recognized from that era with Alicia Keys' The Fallen music video, Brandy's Full Moon, Busta Rhymes' I Know What You Want, Genuine's So Anxious, Jay-Z and Beyonce's 03 Bonnie and Clyde, and so much more. The video also features an entire cutscene of just Diddy indulging in a full-on solo dance break. The man literally took over the girls' video. Lady Marmalade, 2001. Maya, Pink, Christina Aguilera, and Lil' Kim. Now, we all know how the original Lady Marmalade was released by LaBelle, the girl group that features legendary vocalist Patti LaBelle in 1974. The song was actually remade twice before the 2001 version, by Italian pop star Sabrina in 1987 and by the English-Canadian girl group All Saints in 1998. The 2001 version, which was produced by Missy Elliott and Rock Wilder, diverted from the original R&B soul style of the song by adding pop singers like Pink and Christina Aguilera, a dash of sultry from Maya, and that hip-hop edge with Lil' Kim. After being released on April 10th of 2001, the single entered the Hot 100 on April 14th at number 70. The very next week, the song jumped 41 spots to number 29, and then from number 19 to number 10 in the next 2 weeks. The single was already effortlessly surpassing the previous remakes and getting the attention of Patti LaBelle herself, who performed the song with the ladies that year.
Give it up for Miss Patti LaBelle, y'all!
Over the next 3 weeks, that led into the end of May, Lady Marmalade would make its way to number 6, to number 3, before landing at number 1 on June 2nd after just 8 weeks on the chart. The single spent a total of 5 weeks at number 1, selling over 1 million copies in the United States and over 5.2 million copies worldwide. I Wanna Be Bad, 2001. Willow Ford featuring Royce the 5'9". After being signed to MCA in 1999, under the name Manda, her name was changed to Willa to avoid confusion with the singer Mandy Moore. Willa had an idea of the kind of artist she wanted to be from early on and presented material for her debut album to MCA, and they suggested that she tone down her music. Willa refused to compromise and created the perfect song to rebel against the system in place, titled I Wanna Be Bad. She was then dropped from MCA and signed to Atlantic and Lava Records, where they greenlit the single to be released alongside her upcoming debut album. Willow Was Here, with a feature by Royce the 5'9" to spice it up. The single debuted at number 92 on the Hot 100, making it all the way to number 22 over the span of 4 weeks. I Wanna Be Bad will go on to sell over 250,000 copies in the United States, and Willow was a one-hit wonder who ended up blaming her shortcomings on 9/11. Irresistible Remix, 2001. Jessica Simpson featuring Lil Bow Wow. After its release in April of 2001, peaking at number 15 and being on the Hot 100 charts for a total of 20 weeks, a So So Def remix featuring Lil Bow Wow was released on October 1st of 2001. The goal was for the remix to give the existing single a revamp and chart boost, but critics stated that the remix could not do anything to help that single that already ran its course. Loverboy, 2001. Mariah Carey featuring Cameo, Da Brat, Ludacris, and Shawnna. Now, Mariah has been known to release both pop and R&B records, But for the sake of this video, we can just let it be known that Mariah is the queen of hip-hop collaborations and remixes. This list would be endless just trying to name every collaboration, remixes, and remixes. Plus, a lot of her collaborations are more so R&B than pop-based. So we'll wrap the Mariah mentions with this Loverboy record. After the whole JLo debacle with stealing her sample and having to recreate this song with a new sample, the cameo version we know today, Loverboy was released on June 19th of 2001, entering the charts at number 79, and after 5 weeks of dancing around number 75 to number 59 to 55 and back down to 62, then up again to number 60, the single made a surprising leap 58 spots to number 2, stayed there for about 2 weeks. This chart boost happens amid Mariah Carey's breakdown and hospitalization. Now speaking of Mariah, let's get into Jennifer Lopez. It's no coincidence that after it was proven that Mariah's ex-husband, Tommy Mottola, was stealing Mariah's creative ideas, he was using them to develop JLo's musical style. And on top of that, some of the songs Jennifer was releasing at the time bared great similarities to Mariah's records. Now, we all know that Mariah was the one that introduced the hip-hop to pop collaborations to the pop world. In the beginning, Tommy Mottola was extremely reluctant about this because he saw hip-hop as mere background noise. And on the contrary, to his opinion, as the 2000s rolled around, a lot of pop artists were adopting Mariah's trend. By this time, Tommy Mottola was convinced he could copy and paste Mariah's hip-hop and pop formula to boost JLo's popularity. Every other pop star who had a hip-hop feature dabbled in it once or maybe twice, but throughout the 2000s, it seemed Jennifer was heavily relying on hip-hop features and blatantly followed Mariah's blueprint, under instruction of course. Releasing her third single and also her first hip-hop feature, Feeling So Good featuring Big Pun and Fat Joe, it was a nice mid-tempo nod to her Latina background, being shot in the Bronx with her actual mother playing her mother in the music video. It was a cute song that didn't require much vocal ability, that only managed to peak at number 51 on Hot 100. After her album's performance started to decline on the charts, it was suggested to Tommy Mottola that I'm Real needed to be remixed. And knowing nothing about remixes, Tommy decided to pay a visit to Mariah, like a thief in the night of course, and gathered intel that Mariah just did a record with Ja Rule titled If We. According to Irv Gotti, Tommy pretentiously tried to get JLo on a similar sounding record to boost album sales and create competition for Mariah. And not too long after Jennifer released her second hip-hop feature, I'm Real, remix featuring Ja Rule and Ashanti, the song sonically bared an extreme resemblance to Mariah's If We. After being on the Hot 100 for 9 weeks, the original I'm Real was holding the number 2 spot and then morphed into the I'm Real remix, and the song shot up to the number 1 spot, staying there for 3 weeks before falling back to the number 2 spot. The next single, Ain't It Funny, was released in June of 2001 and was more so a Latin pop record. The single failed to chart on the Hot 100, and JLo wouldn't release another single until January of 2002. That single would be the Ain't It Funny remix, following the same remix pattern, collaborating with Ja Rule and Ashanti. The single debuted at number 74 on the Hot 100, later peaking at number 1. The very next single, I'm Gonna Be Alright, featured Nas and peaked at number 10 on the Hot 100. After trying to slow the pace with her next single, Alive, that failed to chart on most charts, JLo jumped right back into the hip-hop pop formula bag, coming out with Jenny from the Block featuring Jadakiss and Styles P that peaked at number 3 on the Hot 100, following it with All I Have featuring LL Cool J that hit number 1 after 4 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. Her next non-hip-hop singles underperformed, so the streets already knew what time it was in January of 2005. JLo released Get Right featuring Fabulous, a song that was previously recorded by Usher that peaked at number 12 on the Hot 100. JLo would continue on with these hip-hop collabs throughout the 2000s and 2010s. Girlfriend, 2002, NSYNC featuring Nelly. Before this song was released as a single, Nelly's record label was not on board and stated this collab would ruin his career. Nelly, on the other hand, was adamant on the single and went forward with it. The single was Nelly's very first pop collaboration, and it peaked at number 5 on the Hot 100. Tell Me a Story, 2002, Hilary Duff featuring Little Romeo. To add some flavor to her then Christmas album, Hilary teamed up with teen sensation Little Romeo. The song was the second single off her Christmas album, which was also her debut album. Dirty, 2002. Christina Aguilera featuring Redman. In 2002, Christina Aguilera released her fourth album, titled Strip, where she took complete creative control and changed her public image, establishing her alter ego, ex-Tina, stating her label, RCA Records, wanted to push the whole cookie-cutter, bubblegum, pop image, and it wasn't her. After cutting ties with her then-manager, Steve Kurtz, Christina decided to create a new musical style, dyed her hair black, and added a more edgy persona to her image. And with her first single off her album, she decided to go with the raw, hip-hop record Dirty featuring Redman. The single debuted at number 67 on the Hot 100, later peaking at number 48 and selling over 1 million copies in the United States. In July of 2003, Christina would collab with one of her Lady Marmalade's soul sisters for another hip-hop feature. Teaming up with the hip-hop producer, Scott Storch, they cooked up Can't Hold Us featuring Lil' Kim. The single peaked at number 12 on the Hot 100 and was also nominated for the Best Pop Collaboration at the 2004 Grammys. The next year, Christina collabed with Missy Elliott on the single titled Car Wash for the Shark Tale soundtrack. Christina was paid $1 million to record the song. That same year, Christina was featured on Nelly's single, Tilt Your Head, that peaked at number 58 on the Hot 100, and the duo performed the song at the 2004 MTV Awards. In 2006, Christina carried Diddy's single, Tell Me, that peaked at number 47 on the Hot 100. I Got That, Boom Boom, 2003. Britney Spears featuring the Ying Yang Twins. On her fourth studio album titled In the Zone, released in 2003, Britney Spears collaborated with the Ying Yang Twins on a track titled I Got That, Boom Boom. The song wasn't used as a single. Master, Play featuring Little Fizz. Straight off the Sony Pictures film, Master of Disguise, a music video was shot for the song that showcased the lead singer, Faye Hamlin, alongside the rest of Play, in energetic and colorful scenes with guest appearances by Jhené Aiko, Solange Knowles, J Boog, and Romeo of IMX. Like I Love You, 2003. Justin Timberlake featuring The Clips. Fresh off the NSYNC tour bus, Justin Timberlake made his solo debut with the single Like I Love You that peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100. It was nominated for Best Rap Song Collaboration. Now, Justin is another pop artist that adopted the hip-hop and R&B sound to embellish his catalog. In 2005, he was featured on Snoop Dogg's single, Signs, and released the second single off his sophomore album titled My Love, featuring T.I. My Love in 2006 peaked at number 1 on the Hot 100, selling over 2.5 million copies and winning the Grammy for Best Rap Collaboration. Rich Girl, 2004. Gwen Stefani featuring Eve. After departing the group No Doubt, Gwen Stefani released her debut solo album in 2004 titled Love Angel Music Baby. Gwen decided to get Eve on the line to cook up another collaboration. She really loved their chemistry and Eve's style and thought it'd be perfect for the second single, Rich Girl. Rich Girl peaked at number 7 on the Hot 100, selling over 2 million copies. The single was also nominated for the Best Rap Song Collaboration at the 2006 Grammys, but lost to Jay-Z and Linkin Park's Numb Encore. Baby It's You, 2004. JoJo featuring Bow Wow. Released in September of 2004 as the second single off JoJo's debut album, the song entered the Hot 100 at number 70, peaking at number 22 before it descended down the chart. Don't Ya, 2005. Pussycat Dolls featuring Busta Rhymes. Written by CeeLo Green, the single was originally recorded by Tori Amos, a backing vocalist for Outkast, who was signed to Universal Records. Tori would grow dissatisfied with Universal and ended up agreeing to release her rights to the song to get out of her contract. The next year, the song would make its way to the newly formed Pussycat Dolls featuring Busta Rhymes. The song would go on to peak at number 2 on the Hot 100, selling 3 million copies in the United States. Promiscuous, 2006. Nelly Furtado featuring Timbaland. After releasing a mixture of pop and Portuguese music, Nelly caught the attention of Timbaland and he ended up signing her to his label after her then label DreamWorks was acquired by Universal Music Group. The song was Nelly experimenting with her playful and sensual side. She wrote the song with her label mate, Timothy Clayton, and says that during the writing, the song came off very playful. The back and forth between her and Timbaland added a hip-hop aspect to the single, and on April 25th of 2005, the single was released, entering the Hot 100 charts at number 64. After the second week of it being on the charts, the single climbed 34 spots to number 30, then jumped 21 more spots to number 9, then to number 3, then number 2, before finally peaking at number 1 after 8 weeks on the Hot 100. Promiscuous spent 6 weeks at number 1, going 7 times platinum and selling over 10 million copies worldwide. Come to Me, 2006, Diddy featuring Nicole Scherzinger. Released on September 12th of 2006, the single entered the Hot 100 charts at number 93, later peaking at number 9 and number 3 on the US Hot Rap Songs. Glamorous, 2007, Fergie featuring Ludacris. Glamorous received great success, peaking at number 1 after being on the charts for 9 weeks and selling over 3 million copies in the US. By the 2010s, the hip-hop and pop collabs basically became the norm, with many artists crossing over into different markets to expand their fan bases. What were your favorite pop and hip-hop collabs? Any we missed? Leave a comment below and let us know. We'll catch y'all next time.